We got injury updates for you, San Diego Padres fans. It's good news and vibes only on this episode of Padres Digest. Thank you very much for tuning back in. I'm Christian Pedersen, one of the hosts of the internet's most, okay, Padres podcasts. Thank you very much, as always, for tuning in. If you want to drop a comment on anything this video, so Michael King and Jackson Merrill related, that'd be fantastic. We're building a great community. You guys have a ton of opinions, many of them better than me on baseball. But hey, I like to be your conduit. If you want to drop a comment on anything else you want a video on, that's also much appreciated. And if you're bored and you want to hit that subscribe button as many times as possible, oh man, that would be the best. If not, it's okay. No worries. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about Michael King. We're going to talk about Jackson Merrill and Michael King. We got Mike Shildt comments to get to, but this was also just like, let's have this as our jumping off point because I think the Padres need more help with the pitching than they do with the hitting. So King gets his rehab start, controlled game start, whatever you want. He's closing in on the end of his 15-day window on the IL, but I get the sense, and we'll talk about this from Mike Shildt, that it's less of because this one was a knee injury. This is less of a, we're not sure if he's ready to come back, and more we just want to make sure he's completely ready to come back and not revert further backwards. So Michael King, as we see here with a tweet from the Tin Caps, they hosted him out for a simulated controlled environment of a game. And if you get to the quotes from Mike Shildt, he was asked, we start with, he was talking for Michael King for about 15 minutes before I came out here. That was him before he came out to talk to reporters. He finished up with Ruben Niebla. The good news is Michael King came out of a simulated game and feels good today. Feels good today might seem like the barest minimum of a threshold to clear. But here's what I'll say is, it's this quote right here that to me drives home what the core of our timeline and issue for getting Michael King back is. So we're progressing to the next step. Now I'm just reading for those of you that are watching this on phones. I will read this quote through to you so that you can understand. I'm still figuring out who watches this on what size screen. Apologies. Like I said, we're just an okay internet thing. So we're progressing to the next step. Now we're just trying to figure out what the next steps are. His simulated game was rightfully in a very controlled situation because we're still careful about a lot of the cutting and covering first base and fielding bunts and backing up bases. Michael is really good. So he's not backing up a lot of bases, but it happens occasionally that he's able to do that. So we have to figure out the plan for the next steps for that to be in place. So it seems to me like really, if anything, the issue is the non-pitching variability of baseball. And that is, like they said, he's good going this way. He's good with all of the, I use these motions, like my legs are also moving at the same time. And we're all figuring this out, but as he's coming to here on his pitching delivery, his leg is landing. He seems to be good with the full throwing action. It's is he going to cut left on a grounder back to him, have to run over to first if Arraez is pulled off the bag, have to get behind home if there's a double in the gap or something like that, and then maybe being worried a little bit about that degree of improvised left-right lateral explosive movement being an issue. So that's where I think this is good news. And it doesn't end with, he's coming back Monday or he's coming back against the X, Y, or Z. And there's still some, and some of you will be like, it's an update without an update, Christian. You're still 4 minutes to say zero thing. Look, okay, cool. I'm not providing you, there was no quote from Shildt. There is no timeline of we will see Michael King in X days. But given that here's where the Padres are at in the standings, and I know that this is hard to look at given that we are 2 back of the Dodgers and we were ahead of the Dodgers and we are all living and dying on every win and loss right now. But I bring this up to say, like, the Padres are in control of their like, we're still doing good. We are a good baseball team. We are going to get somewhere in the 90 wins. Hopefully we are going to make the playoffs. Seems like all of that is a for sure. So the Padres in that situation, we need Michael King back, but we need Michael King back for, I think we can all agree, we need him back for the playoffs. If his situation is that he is not able to at 100% all the time cover first and do the the this of baseball. Okay, I am fine then with if they want to take 2 more weeks, but during that 2 weeks, he's capable of throwing more simulated games, maybe a rehab start where he goes out there with specific directions of, look, pitch, but do not field or defend your position. And I think that can be valid at the level of, okay, maybe not every, like if there the one specific situation of if there is a bunt back to him or a ground ball to first, like you would tell him in a major league situation we would need you to cover this. But I don't think that the Chihuahuas are going to necessarily balk at Michael King is sent down here to pitch and nothing else. So if there is a bunt or 2 or 5 or 10, like if the whole team decides to bunt and troll him, I don't think that's going to happen in a minor league game. But like, you get what I'm saying? Like, just let him pitch. Like if he's throwing and he's looking good and he's working on his stuff and he's able to maintain his arm, get back mid-ish September, get 2 or 3 let's call it even just 2 starts. Is that enough for you? That's enough for me. If his mission is, or if his issue right now is just like his knees got to get a little bit more rest, a little bit more strength, a little bit more recovered so that he can be a B+, A- version of himself in the playoffs, then that's what I'm saying. All of this to me is good news because they're not saying any arm issues. They're not saying any fill in the blank with anything that to me would be a backstep. So let me know what you think. Do the Padres need Michael King back in the regular season for the sake of like we need him back to hold on to this thing? Do you want him back so that we can make a push to win the West? Are you cool with just like we got the wild card, we're in? All that being said, I said we were also going to get to Jackson Merrill. Mike Shildt in the same presser with the media. He talked about Merrill. He had another really good day today. Shildt said I spoke with him yesterday, but not today. I get the intel from our field coordinator and one of our trainers because at this point, Shildt is talking from the Minneapolis, and so he's talking to people who are dealing with Jackson is in Arizona at the spring training facility. But I get the intel from our field coordinators and one of our trainers that medically and from a baseball standpoint, he ramped it up a little bit more today with another day of live at-bats and throwing and a little more intensity to his running. So he's trending to get back sooner than later, and we're probably looking at sometime early in the week if things continue to go well. There's a good chance that he'll travel tomorrow and we'll evaluate on Monday. Okay, I didn't do factual statistical timeline updates with the King injury. I'm doing it with the Merrill injury. So today is the Monday that they are talking about reevaluating, and this is the week where it's back early in the week. So I think we are T-minus 5 days or less until we get Jackson Merrill back and realign things out in the outfield. Although Ramon Laureano, my boy, my absolute boy, came up pretty big in playing center field. Love it. But it would seem that Merrill is coming back with, let's call it 3 weeks of the season left. 3.5 weeks to 4 weeks to somewhere in that range. It doesn't like that's not enough games to matter. We'll call it 3 weeks of the season left. I think that 3 weeks of the season left can be enough maybe for him to not have a Xander-esque, like, oh, he flipped and started hitting again like an all-star. But I think 3 weeks can be enough to get his head on right, start playing some bigger games of like, it's almost September, it's September, it's almost October, like get that intense, just get his head straight, get him to a point where we get to the playoffs and he is at the very least a 260 or better hitter and a serviceable defensive center fielder. Like maybe he's just a little banged up at this point in the year. It's been a couple stints on the IL. He might not be himself, or he might be himself, but last year was like, we're still figuring him out. He's such an unmolded lump of clay. He's so young. He's so early in his career that I think it's impossible to ascribe to, he's going to come back and do X, Y, or Z. But look, I think he can get back. He seems to have all the signs that he's healthy and not suffering from setbacks. They're giving us an actual day or a range of days. So Merrill back this week. King, I'm saying, should be back within next 2 weeks. What do you guys think? Let me know on both of those injuries. But all in all, good news, I'm saying, Padres fans. It's going to keep on getting better and better as September continues. Let's keep the faith and let's hold on for a couple more weeks. Playoffs are almost here. Talk to you guys next time.